Welcome to Scaling Your Healthy Food Product podcast, where we believe the process of scaling better for you product doesn't have to be lonely, hard, or complicated, but following simple steps to prepare your product to scale correctly will set you up to succeed. If that is you, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Jacinta Kimboy. Let's get started, everybody. So you have found a manufacturing facility that you can use, a potential that you can use for producing your product. You've tried several, you visited several, and you've narrowed down to this small number, could be 2 or 3, and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it. This week, we're talking about, before the plant trial, the 5 essentials every food founder should prepare before that. What is a plant trial? The reason why you would have to do a plant trial is you're moving from, it doesn't necessarily have to be like small production to larger production. It could also be that you're switching manufacturing facilities. Let's say you got another co-packer, another co-manufacturer that you want to switch from. You maybe got a better deal, or you're building a relationship and you like it there. It's closer to where you are. Let's say you had started with a co-manufacturing facility that was in a different country or a different province, and now you need to move. You found one open closer to you that works better. It could be anything, but the reason why you need to do it is every time you're switching from a different facility to another one, you need to be able to try the system. The process could be the same or similar, but you still need to try to see how your product functions. So that's why it's important to do a plant trial wherever you're going, to be able to see or wherever production you're switching, to be able to see how your product functions and how your product comes out before you take it to the market and before you take it back to the consumers, especially if you have a product that you're already producing and your consumer is used to it, and now you're switching processes. It's good to know you're switching facilities. It's good to know that your product is still going to be the same. The consistent is going to be the same. Everything to do with your product is still going to be intact. You're just moving places, but your product still remains the same. So the 5 essentials that you need to prepare are your raw materials. Like if you're moving to this manufacturing facility, you need to have gotten all the raw materials that you need for your production to send it there, figure out the time that it needs. So it more like a little bit of a planning to be able to have everything sorted before the plant trial. And the other thing is, because logistics can be very confusing and at times not cooperative, so it's good to plan ahead of time and give yourself time. I think the best thing would be you plan a plant trial once you have the raw materials. Don't do it in such a way that you're like, at least in my experience, has always worked. Like, don't plan to say, okay, it's going to be there in 2 weeks. And then you plan everything, or your travel to be able to get there. Plan it when all the raw materials have gotten to the facility, then you are able to plan a plant trial, because we've had instances where something just happens. Like there's always like some kind of a delay that you didn't anticipate to happen that could happen as things are moving around and things are logistically. So that always happens. Something could always. The other important thing is the recipe. So number 2 is your recipe. Do you have your recipe ready? All the steps are planned out. Everything is, you know what you need to do. So that's important, because you want to have it like documented, not from your memory or not from what you remember, but everything documented, and you have it, and you've tried it, and you know this is what I know. It's one of those things, but you need to have that. And then the third one is the process documenting. You need to have documented your process. Like, what's the process? You could have missed something. When you're so used to doing something, it could be second nature, but you have to have that process such that it's repeatable, everything remains consistent. You have those standard operating procedures along your recipe and the process, so that it's easier for anybody to produce your product, anybody to go through the process and be able to replicate exactly the same thing, because they followed the process, and your product is going to come out exactly the same every time. And The fourth one, which now is a combination of number 2 and 3, which is your recipe and your process documentation. This is a lab trial. Before you can schedule that plant trial to be able to go large scale, you need to have gone to the facility, the new facility, and done the test in their lab, or however they would do it. Like, you need to have at least gone there and done the recipe with them so that their team understands exactly what you mean by mix it for 2 minutes. You'll have done your process yourself. It's important because in some cases I've been in a project that somebody thought, oh, this is the process, and then as we went to the plant trial, we discovered that the product did not come out correctly. But because of the raw material that we're using at the facility is different from what they were using, because their raw material that they had been getting from their supplier was a little bit different from what we had in the facility. So this is just to let you know that the oat flour or the oat flour that you're using is not necessarily the same oat flour as your facility or the other potential facility is using. There's different in granulometry, there's different in how the product itself is or how it's processed. So even the flake size and everything, you just need to be able to figure out that it's exactly the same. So that's why it's advisable to go there and do a lab trial. You have like those small quantities of your product and you're trying it so that their team and you and your team can understand exactly what goes into your product, because you want exactly the same. So for you to get exactly the same, you need to be able to translate that, and you need to be able to pass that along to this other new team for them to understand how you want your product, how you make your product, how your product should taste, feel, and look. That's what you need to be able to pass along. And plant trial, a lab trial is important that way, because then you're able to pass that along. And if something is missing, you can correct it and you can find it. Let's say if it's a raw material, you can be able to source it before the plant trial, so you're ready for your plant trial. Because in most cases, it's usually a big venture. It's more expensive than what you're used to, because a plant trial, it could be 100 kilos. That's the low amount that they could do per batch. So you want to be able to make sure that at least the product that's going to come out is closer to your product. So you want to make sure that you do your homework ahead of the plant trial so you're ready for that. And then the fifth one is plant visit ahead of time. So this is where if you've done the lab trials, you're good, because you've been able to visit the plant and you've been able to figure out what they have, what they don't have, what you need to add in your process. Do they have, like, let's say if it's you're having some inclusions, do they have the right pad? Do they have the right mixer? Do they have the right raw materials? The importance of plant trial and how different is it from the process that you're currently using or your product is currently being manufactured in. These are good times to be able to figure out what you're missing, what you need, so you can anticipate and really fix and get ready. If you need to purchase something, or if they need to purchase an equipment that you don't have, that also takes time. So it's important to just do all this so you're able to know what you need to get you to produce there smoothly, just the transitioning goes well. Because if you plan, if you do all these 5 steps, you'll be ready and your plant trial will run smoothly. So as a recap of what we've gone through today, the 5 essentials every food founder should prepare is your raw materials. That's the first one. The recipe, and then your process. You need to have documented that to be able to give it to the other people. And then the lab trial, you need to have done it yourself with this new team, so they understand your process, they understand your product, they understand your recipe, and everybody understands what you mean. And then the fifth one is the plant visit. Like, don't just like a facility from afar, from the PowerPoint presentations that you've received. You need to have gone there. So this is important. It's part of like the lab trial too. You can structure it in such a way that you're doing 2 visits. You just go visit first the facility if everything is okay, or you can combine it and do like a lab trial and the plant visit at the same time for you to be able to see how well this facility would work for your product, and just to get a feel of how their culture is and how your brand will will be incorporated in this new facility. So there you go. If at some point you're thinking about moving your production, moving your manufacturing to a co-man, these are some of the things that you need to do ahead of time. So plant trials are one of those that you need to do, because this is also like a step to you making the decision that you need to make, because at this point you're now producing your product in this facility and you can see how your product is going to look like, taste like, and if you also like this new facilities culture and how they work. So this can be like icing on the cake for you to give you the go ahead to proceed with this manufacturing facility. Or this is a point where you're like, okay, I think I need to step back and I need to think about this a little bit more and explore more other opportunities to see how well I could get somebody or another manufacturing that would work well for my brand. So there you go. Until next week, keep scaling your food business. Remember, I am cheering you on, and my mission is to see more food businesses, healthy food businesses, better for you, plant-based in the food aisle. So remember, I'm cheering you on. So this week, as you make a step closer to your dream, to seeing your products in the market or seeing the growth that you deserve, remember, I am cheering you on. Until next week, keep scaling your food business.